let's talk about OBs, also known as order blocks. Let's get into it. You know what, I'm going to clear my drawings here, and we're going to make this one nice and big. We're going to go to NQ. Alright, so we're going to talk about order blocks here. Order blocks, order blocks, order blocks. Why are they important? Well, first off, let's talk about what are order blocks. What do they mean? Well, it's kind of in the name, right? Order block. So what does that mean? It means that there's a lot of orders sitting in that area, right? It's like liquidity. There's a bunch of orders sitting in that area where people are looking to get in. Okay, so what happens is, let's look at this 1 hour time frame, or a 5 minute, are we on a 5 minute time frame, sorry, over here on NQ. Alright, so we've got a 5 minute time frame. So let's look at this level up here. Do we see this up close candle right here? Okay, this up close candle is that key candle that we're looking at. Okay, this one right here, right at 9:25 a.m. from this morning. So this is our order block. When we see a strong move, strong displacement move the opposite way, so this was an up close candle, and then we see a strong displacement move back down, this now becomes an order block. And why is that? Because now people are waiting to get back into this trade. Okay, so people are waiting to get back into this trade once that level gets hit again, right? So that's a minus order block, right, which means a bearish order block. Okay, so now when people see that move, they want to get in these shorts, they want to get involved. So they're going to put their entries up here, right? And that's why it becomes a strong point of resistance, because it was a strong move from that level, which means that there's a lot of orders sitting up here, which means that it's going to be tough for this candle to push back through that level. Does not mean they're always going to be respected, right? Because we see order blocks get disrespected pretty often. But I like to look at the order blocks that have very strong displacement moves after them. I consider those to be the strongest order blocks and the strongest levels of support and resistance, right? So this would be a resistance level because it's up top. Okay, so now all of these people that are up here, right, they didn't get in this trade. They didn't get to get in this trade, right? So now they're thinking, well, I still want to get in the shorts. Okay, I think the shorts are going to continue. All right, so now we have all of these orders. And that can be said either way. That could be said even if, you know, the market is an algorithm. There's still these levels with tons of orders, right? Like this. So you're looking for, in the case of a bearish order block, you're looking for a strong, or for an up close candle with a strong displacement candle previous, right? And this could be on any time frame. It does not just have to be on the 5 minute. It could be on the 4 hour, the daily, any of those time frames, right? So we can go back and look at some other previous order blocks. Let's look for, on our 4 hour time frame, let's look for another order block. Okay, I see one down here. Notice how we have this down close candle right here. Okay, so we've got this down close candle. And then what happens after? We see a strong displacement. It does not have to be the candle right after. It could be 2 candles after that order block, right? It doesn't have to be the candle directly after that order block, but we see a strong displacement move. Okay, so this would be a plus OB, right? A bullish order block. Okay, so we can put 4 hour plus OB. Okay, so now if price were to come back down into this level, we would expect to see some kind of rejection, right? We would expect to see some kind of support when price trades back into this level. So we notice how I always talk about those breakaway fair value gaps, breakaway order blocks, right? This is what I mean. A breakaway is a strong displacement move and one, you know, an expansion move. So we see this strong expansion move, fair value gap left behind. Notice how price trades back into it, just barely pumps and then forms another order block resting here. Okay, this is still an order block, even if it is small. Notice how we get that strong displacement candle after this order block. So now that becomes another support level. Okay, and then we could see another one. It also doesn't have to be one candle. It could be multiple, like right here. Notice how we have this 2 candle pattern, and then we see an expansion candle, displacement candle right above. Okay, so these are those support levels that are left behind, that when we see price come back into them, we would expect price to bounce, right? We would expect price to touch into it and go. Okay, we notice here we never reached that order block here, okay, but we still see that price reacted, right? Because we still have these fair value gaps, right? We've got this fair value gap right here, this one right here, that price still respected, right? So these order blocks are now left behind, and they're waiting for price to come back in to act as support or resistance. Okay, we can even look back over here on the 4 hour. Look at this one. This is also a 4 hour order block, and it could technically be all the way right here. Okay, let's look at this. Notice this right here. We have this candle pattern, right? And this is like 5 candles up. So typically I'm looking at the highest one, but again, this is all that order block, and we see that strong displacement candle back down, right? Leaving behind all these people up here, right? So we notice that we've gotten little spurts of resistance. We touched up into the level here, we come back down, then we try to push through, but we're still not pushing all the way through that 4 hour. Okay, so to me, this is still a strong level of resistance until we can push through. Okay, so that's on the 4 hour. Now let's go look for some. I'm going to remove these drawings. Let's go look for some on, how about we look on a daily time frame? Daily time frame. Okay, this is the one that I've been talking about. Look at this right here. Look at this up close candle right here. And then we see a strong displacement right after. Okay, so we have this up close candle, strong displacement move back down, right? This candle right here is that displacement candle, leaving a fair value gap behind, right? So now this acts as support because now this is a bearish order block where all these people want to get back in, right? Or the market wants to reject off of this level, go back short. Okay, we have to also think about these order blocks in terms of our market structure. All right, so our market structure is overall bullish. Okay, we're still overall bullish. We're still moving up. Although we do get some retracement moves in the market, we're still overall trending up. Okay, so sometimes these order blocks might just get ran right through. They might not be respected because our structure is targeting liquidity above the order blocks, right? So that's another thing you got to look out for. Another thing you got to look out for is market structure. So do these order blocks align with my market structure? And that's why I always talk about on these 1 minute time frames, right? When we have breakout moves, obviously today we don't have a lot of breakout moves, but let's try to find one from previously, right, where we can see a nice breakout move, you know, on a 1 minute with a order block left behind. I'm just scrolling back to just try to find something here. Now there's plenty of examples I'm probably missing, but I just want to find a good example for you to use, right, like when we see these breakout moves. Okay, here's one. Here's an example right here. Okay, so we see we're starting to reverse here. We have these 2 up close candles right here. Okay, and then what do we see? We see this candle displace that order block. Price trades back up into it, and we get another displacement back down, right? So that's what I mean when you see that breakout. You see an order block formed, price displaces the low, displaces that order block, trades back into it, displaces again, right? So that's what I mean in terms of that order block on the 1 minute catching breakout moves. Obviously this wasn't too much of a breakout because our trend was still overall bullish, but that's that idea of using those order blocks and those fair value gaps that are left behind.
Order filled. Order filled. Rejected.
All right, using these order blocks and fair value gaps that are left behind. So the order blocks are super important, and it does not have to be on, it can be on any time frame, okay? Any time frame, but like I always say, the higher time frame, the better. So we use that higher time frame analysis to go then down to our lower time frame to start looking for those setups, right? Start looking for those setups. Start looking for those setups. So we see, we can look at the 15-minute time frame now, right? So we go all the way from, we could go from the weekly, the monthly, all the way down to the 1 minute. Oh, sorry guys, I'm trying to exit out of these limit orders I have. Anyways, we see all the way down from the weekly to the 1 minute. So it does not have to be any specific time frame. So like we can go up to a weekly, and do we see up here we have this weekly order block, right? Bearish order block. Look how we're up in it right now. And look at this weekly order block down here, bullish order block. Notice how we come down into the bullish order block and we bounce from that level. We bounce from that level. Right, so this acted as support. And do we notice how we see that displacement fair value gap here? Strong fair value gap left behind, displaced on the weekly. And then all of these people are now waiting to get back in those longs down here because it aligns with our market structure, right? So price comes back down. Price comes back down into that area. And then we bounce, okay? So now we're expecting possible resistance from this weekly order block, right, to possibly take us back down. But when we look at our market structure overall in a weekly time frame, we expect our trend to continue to the upside. So this to me is not as strong of a level because I want to see price try to push through, right? Because we're now targeting that liquidity above these order blocks. Okay, so that's kind of what I'm looking at in terms of my order blocks. So what I do is I go all the way from the weekly all the way to the 1 minute, right, to chart these out. Okay, so do you guys have any questions or comments? Any specific questions or comments about these order blocks maybe that you're not able to figure out? Remember, the most strong order blocks I'm looking for are the ones that have the displacement candles right after. Any questions, any comments? Anybody? So the strongest order blocks are the ones with those displacement candles, right? So the strong, so like when we were talking about on that 4-hour time frame, like right here. This one right here is a very strong order block because we're looking for that candle or a few candles after to move the opposite direction very aggressively, right? So this becomes a very strong bearish order block that now we've been retesting. Okay, but notice how we've come up almost to the top of that and we're trying to push through it. Okay, so I would still expect us to try to push through this level at this point, but it becomes a stronger order block when we see those big moves back down. What fair value gap are more likely to be respected? Yeah, so in terms of those fair value gaps, I do have that video I put out last week about that, but we can talk about it real quick. So in terms of a breakout move after an order block like that, I would want to see the first fair value gap like on a 1 minute or 5 minute time frame respected, right? So if we look at that trade I tried to take earlier, let's see if I can find it. Let's see if I can find that trade that we were looking at earlier. Okay, so it was right here, right? So we finally broke out. Notice how we displaced this high. That was that high I was waiting for us to displace. Okay, we broke out. I wanted to see us trade back into this fair value gap right here and then pump. Obviously we didn't do that, and we came back through and we've had a very ranging day. We haven't broken out of this range pretty much at all, so we haven't really seen any follow through, right? But I typically on those breakout moves, I want to see that first fair value gap that's formed after that order block, right? So we had this 1 minute order block right here. We displaced with the breakout move. I'm typically looking for that first 1 minute fair value gap to target as my entry. Okay, today's not a very great example because we have not been able to really do anything. We haven't had any expansion, but in general, that's kind of that fair value gap I'm looking for. On a more like slow move, I'm waiting for retracement, maybe back down to a discount or back up to a premium, before I take that trade. So maybe I'm targeting a fair value gap that's lower on the range, right? Again, that video, we go over all of that stuff. So if you want to learn a little bit more about that, it's pretty solid video there. But again, on those breakout moves, I'm just waiting for that first fair value gap to form after an order block, and that's that target. That's what I'm looking for. Like we could look here on these shorts, right? So we had this order block up here, right? And then we formed this fair value gap, displacement move down. So like a trade I would look for on a normal day would be for us to retrace into that 1 minute fair value gap above this new order block we formed and then take a short. Or if we displace this next order block, now I'm looking to take the entry off of this order block here, right? So I'm waiting for that first fair value gap to form. If we retrace into it, yes, I look to take it. If not, and we form another order block, now I'm looking to take an entry off that new order block that formed here, right? If we displace it again, and so forth. All right, so that's what I'm looking at in terms of order blocks. And again, we will keep continuing to learn more and more about these order blocks in the future. But that's a pretty, kind of solid intro into how I look at order blocks and how I use them as support and resistance for my trading. All right, guys, so that's all I got for you in terms of this lesson. Remember, if you have any more questions or any more comments, let me know now before I end the session. But I'll end it if I don't have any more questions and comments from you guys. Just let me know. No problem. No problem, guys. Yes, I will post this video right after. I'll upload this video right after, and it'll be posted under our educational recordings tab, okay? Alright guys, well, that's going to be it for me. I'll see you back in about 40 minutes for our last session of the day. Hopefully we'll have some good price action that we can trade. Obviously I have not traded any of this stuff, guys. It's just not good price action. Not really anything too good. Okay, so I'll catch you guys back in a little bit, and we'll end the day strong. All right, appreciate you all. God bless. See you soon. Peace.